It caused a sensation, for its sweeping lines and 120-mile-an-hour top speed were unheard of at the Jaguar's price of just over £1,200. It became an instant success, proving itself on both road and track. This famous car, NUB 120, showed the Jaguar to be a great rally winner. At the launch, its claimed top speed was thought optimistic, but it silenced its critics when a slightly modified car achieved over 132 miles an hour, proving it to be the world's fastest production car.
Driving this magnificent beast, you begin to realise why it caused such a sensation in its time. Until the XKs came along, sports cars were noisy and brutish, with bone-jarring rides and very primitive controls. This is really very civilised. The ride is firm but comfortable. These nicely shaped seats hold you through the corners, and the gears, only 4 of course, sneak in and out with beautiful precision. The steering is a bit heavy, sure. They didn't even think of power assistance in those days, and it's hardly pin sharp, but you can set the car up for a corner and hold it through it beautifully on the power. Brakes are not really quite up to what we expect these days, because we're used to discs and these are drums, but they will carve off the speed if you use plenty of muscles. All told, the XK120 is really a car for all reasons. It'll burble happily through traffic without complaint, and then it'll zip away once you put your foot on the loud pedal when you get on the open road, with a lovely rise in the revs and a terrific roar from that exhaust.
On the track, the XK's success began at its first outing at Silverstone. XKs finished first and second and would have taken third if a puncture hadn't forced retirement. Many victories followed for drivers such as Sterling Moss and Phil Hill. NUB 120 and Ian Appleyard proved one of the world's best rallying combinations, with victories on the Tulip, REC and the arduous Alpine rallies.
Of course, originally the XK120 was only going to be built in limited numbers, about 200, as experimental vehicles. The idea was to run them as mobile test beds for the new XK engine, which was being produced for the post-war range of Jaguar saloons. But then it was such a beautiful car and it went so well that it had to be put into full-scale production. This is the new XK120 engine as it was in 1948. A 6-cylinder, twin overhead camshafts, 160 brake horsepower. Fantastic performance for that day and age.
The power output of the XK engine in the XK120 gave it a top speed performance far in advance of any other production car of its day. Not only was it powerful, but it came in this most elegant, exciting body shape that it was just a tremendous success.
Now, your own car here is a fixed-head coupe. How different was that from the original Roadster?
Yes, that's a more refined version, trimmed more luxuriously. It has all the walnut fittings and so on of saloon cars, a proper grand touring car.
And when was your first experience of an XK120?
When I was very small. The Jaguar dealer in our local village saw me drooling over one day, dragged me in and rushed me off up the road at 100 miles an hour. Quite amazing.
The 120 was followed by the 140 and 150, and racing development led to the C-Type, the D-Type, and later the E, which became the classic sports car of the 1960s. By the time the XK120 ceased production in 1954, over 12,000 had been produced, but the majority went abroad. The engines proved highly durable. They're still being produced in small numbers. The XK120 established itself as a true classic because it set new standards for all the sports cars which were to follow.
And finally, from that beautiful classic car to this monstrosity, because this extraordinary rocket-shaped projectile on the Vauxhall stand is a reconstruction of what many designers in the 50s thought that 80s cars would look like. Just shows you the dangers of forecasting. Imagine running into one of these on the M1 with Cavalier written all over the back. That's all from the Motor Show tonight. Next week we're in the rain-soaked forest of Wales following the rally cars, so see you then. Until then, drive safely. Good night.